Hey, good morning. Happy Easter Sunday morning to each and every one of you. Yeah, the title. Where do we go from here? He lives. He lives. Fabulous day for Christians. What what if he hadn't? Or what if the Romans hadn't crucified him? What if he had continued with his message? What if? What if the theories all kind of fit together on a calendar and he's the cause for all religions, all faiths, all manner of walking life? What if? What if the Indians that report the beginning of their faith, he had traveled here and hidden here? Or what if he had gone and hidden in Japan? Or what if? Where do we go from here? 2020, a lot of us wouldn't have done some of the things we've done. But we have to. I know it sounds odd, but what if we have to? The Christian faith and our belief in God is that there's an ultimate book of everything, and all of our lives are charted out for us, and there's specific things we're supposed to do in our lifetime, and not leaning back on the purpose of life. That's a huge, tremendous question. That's really, really, whew, whew, what is your purpose? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Mine was, I presume, the book. I'm looking for my next purpose. I've got my twinkling star. But what if? What if? What if we had enough hindsight that we actually did hold our politicians responsible? What if we had enough hindsight that when we set a law, we actually stuck with that law and made sure that law never changed and never went away? They've ultimately done that. We've seen that. Heck, they've changed the entire Constitution, and we've blindly missed it. At least for the Americans. I'm not sure. I don't know. You got to look at the other countries and go, I don't know. What if? Good morning, Mr. Campbell. How you doing, my friend? Where do we go from here? That's a tough question, especially in the Christian faith. Where do we go from here? We have a better understanding of how the system works. But what system are we talking about? Are we talking about the global system? Are we talking about oh my God, the Milky Way galaxy system? We've just barely scratched the surface of that. Where do we go from here? What if there are other races out there? What if there are reasons we're kept here? What if we're just a giant petri dish and a huge science experiment somebody's watching? What if, what if? Where do we go from here? You know, we know we have issues on the planet. Get some sleep, Campbell. Get some sleep. It's 04 stupid 30 here, as somebody graciously said. It was hilarious. I'd never heard that statement before. Get up at stupid 30. But when you get older, right, Campbell. But where do you go from here? It's out there. Do we necessarily go and explore it? Do we necessarily have the capacity? With as politically motivated as we are now, chasing the almighty dollar that has zero value, because ultimately they've eliminated all of that. We don't have a gold standard. We don't have a silver standard. We don't. The money that we have now is faith based. Nothing. With faith in paper. There's nothing behind it. There's nothing backing it up. And for any other race, theoretical or not, you're working for nothing. You're working for what? What's your purpose? Say, all of these kind of lean off of each other from other streams I've done. They all kind of tie back together. Where do we go from here? Well, we know that eating a bunch of chemicals and what have you, we know that's not a good thing. We know ultimately that the planet is being destroyed. We know we're all working for a piece of paper that has zero value. Yet we continue to work for that same stupid piece of paper because, well, everybody else does. Is that the right way to go? Do we step outside the box? Do we go a different direction? Do we go back to the gold standard? In our faith-based system, he has risen, he has returned, and we're all gracious that he's given his life for the entire planet and all of us. That's a that's a mind-numbing, scary thought. That's a holy bejeebers. Can you imagine? Yeah, I had done the Easter pageant. I mean, come on, look at me. I've got the look. Hanging on the cross, can barely see through the light, and you see the crowd out there. Blood's oozing off my back. They're saying it. I can't see it. They're in tears, and you're just up there, and until you're actually in his shoes. No, I wasn't nailed to a cross or anything quite extreme, but until you're in his shoes and start to realize and start to think about every sin burdened on his soul, hanging on that cross, and he accepted them all in our faith. That's a hell of a guy. I mean, just trying to stand there, even as a teenager, just trying to stand up there for as long as I was up there and maintain that was painful. That was that was whew, that was extremely. I cannot imagine the nails ripping through my flesh and the acceptance of all sin for all time from all people. That doesn't excuse our sins. It doesn't excuse and make it okay to continue abusing the planet, continue abusing each other. Well, Bud, that's where do I see us in 10 years? By today's standard? I've been here 52 years. It's been an incredible walk. I've seen some absolutely incredible things and met some even more incredible people. Some I've lost, some I didn't get a chance to really get to know. If we continue down the same path we're going right now, um, there's not going to be much here. We are slowly dwindling down knowledge. We are slowly dumbing down society. We are slowly irradiating each other with everything. Everything we do is wireless. Everything we do is it's scary. It's scary. The earth has a vibration. Schumann resonance. Hey, Pascal Coins, welcome. I'm just kind of meandering today. Nothing hardcore, nothing, but it's Easter Sunday, and it makes you want to. We all need that moment. We all need that moment in time where we stop and we just kind of smell the flowers. What is it? April showers bring May flowers. That's the. So, what flowers do you want to plant? We all kind of look at our lives on a day-to-day basis. And you try and learn from your mistakes. You try and build on your successes. Where do we go from here? Where are we going to be in 10 years? What's possible? What could we possibly learn? What could we possibly, if you were to sit back today, or if you had a time machine, knowing what we know, or attempt to change the words, attempt to change things for the better, knowing what we know, would it be better? Are we a giant petri dish experiment? Well, let's look at the let's look at the oddball possibilities. What if there are a bunch of scientists inside the moon from a bunch of different races all watching us scrambling around down here like a bunch of ants trying to figure out what we're doing as we're destroying the planet? And I can honestly say that. I mean, just global pictures, just global pictures show burned out sections of the planet. It's the chemical basting, like I said yesterday. It's the chemical basting of our planet. We're coating this sucker in so many chemicals. And it's interesting, the bariums and what have yous that are being used, they can all be erased. Are there too many of us? Is that the overall picture? Is that what they're trying to do? They've taken away a financial system that had a value, the gold standard, the silver standard, what have you, where every dollar could be exchanged for its equal value in a precious metal. They've taken that all away, and now we have a financially based system on nothing. It has no value except what you allow them to tell you it has value for. Where do we go from here? Well, you want to look at, okay, well, let's look where we've come. We took the phones off the walls, we put them in our pockets, and we started irradiating ourselves. And as the phones got more powerful and became more capable, nobody noticed that everybody was slowly getting sicker. Everybody was slowly getting less sleep. Everybody was, and it, people want to sit back and go, well, where's your tinfoil hat? There you go. You're starting. No, no, no. It's 2019. Go camping this year. Go way back up in the woods, way back up in the mountains where there's no cell tower service, where nobody's at. You could still see the crippling effects of spraying the planet down and how Mother Nature's coming apart. And we can't mess with Mother Nature. We really, really can't. You know, we 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 took it. We took the wolves out of the Yellowstone National Park, and total devastation took place because we took one of the key parts out. We put him back, and Yellowstone Park is now flourishing once again. Everybody feared that, well, the packs of wolves, this huge family of wolves, is going to just go in and devastatingly eat everything. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And what they did do was stop certain grazing animals from being in the wrong places. And what they did do is culled down the sick herds. And what they did do, and now life is flourishing once again, and the rivers are returning, and the fish are returning. We can't screw with this system. We've got this mindset that man is the ultimate answer. No, he's not. Because every time somebody was telling me yesterday that they brought foxes down to the Indian national parks here in Ohio, and they released them thinking it was going to help, and all it has done is it is devastatingly ruined and destroyed, and they're attacking everything that moves. They've taken out all of the ground life, and it is having a devastating impact on the entire park system. They're wiping out the deer herds, and they're, I mean, just ravaging the system, and it's destroying it. And it's just become open season on these guys because now they've realized they've made a mistake. We have to stop screwing with Mother Nature. We wiped out the bison herds, and now we have dust bowls. Now we have these burned out systems throughout the United States. We wiped out, we, man, we wiped out huge populations of exotic animals in Africa, and now we have devastated Africa. We keep messing around. We keep messing with things. Did the Africans have it right? I mean, you really look at their history. You look at, they existed with the planet. They did only what they needed. They took only what they needed. And until we became wild game hunters and big game, everything, Africa was pristine. The atmosphere of the planet was Awesome. We went down and turned Australia into a prison state, an entire island of prisoners, violent, whatever prisoners. We wiped out the Aborigine. Everywhere we touch, we wipe things out. I'm not saying that we can't live in harmony with what's going on. I'm not saying we can't expand our film, our realm of influence. But now we see the effects. We've had 70 years of coating the planet in chemicals, devastation. Now we're bringing on 5G and all of this wireless technology. And we're now going to start cooking everything. Every one of us carrying a phone is cooking this place. Constant radiation, constant bombardment. I said something about the Schumann resonance. There's a gentleman lost to history that had looked into free energy, utilizing the energy of the planet and broadcasting free energy. Now, when he turned that thing on, there was an opposite effect, exactly opposite the planet, because it's like the power generated out, came around, clap, bang, devastation. So for everything man does, even in free energy, there's an adverse effect. Are we thinking all of this through? Where do we go from here? We go in and wipe things out. We're going to make it better. We're going to utilize it better. We're going to do more with it. 4,000 years ago, man went to a river. Sorry, man and women. Without women, we can't survive. It is nature. It is. Man and woman went to a river in a devastated area that could grow nothing, and they went to work. They didn't have the big machinery. They just had hand to hand labor. They went to work as a whole. Hundreds of thousands had to have been there to do it. Just like building the pyramids. Hundreds of thousands had to have been used to do it. Maybe. Plenty of theories there too. Oh, listen to the birds. Beautiful. Nature. Too cold to be outside though. Where do we go from here? 4,000 years ago, they went into an area where it was total devastation. Nothing was there. And man turned it around. Man changed it. Man made it better. Man stepped in and improved a devastated area. Why is it today when man goes in to a good area, we devastate it? Our rivers are polluted. The wildlife is gone. Why? Because we're improving things? No, it's getting worse. Because we're getting paid to do it? Paid what? Money's not worth anything. We're our own worst predators. We blindly hunt each other on what some politician has labeled, on what some politician, there was a country doing incredibly well, went to a gold standard and was just overwhelmingly increasing and improving, and someone got jealous, someone got upset, and we went in and destroyed the place. We went in greedily and took the gold. We went in greedily and set that country back hundreds of years because someone got greedy. There's the religious strength on the planet, there's the financial strength on the planet, there's a military might on the planet. Those are the three in control. That's obvious. Just look at the overall picture, right or wrong. That's But where do we go from here? There's a gentleman in our history that crossed the country, and he wasn't worried about today because his mindset wasn't there. He just wanted to see what there was to see. He wanted to experience the country for what was here at the time. You've all heard stories of him, and throughout the country, there are different proofs and evidences of his existence. His name was Johnny Appleseed. At least that's what he's known as now. He crossed this country and he planted apple trees everywhere, everywhere he touched, everywhere he went. Apple seeds, and there are apple orchards contributed to him or said to have been planted by him as he crossed this country, and he improved things. One man, one man made that much of a difference across a country that today we've all heard the story of Johnny Appleseed. One man. Where are we going to be in 10 years? Well, if we do nothing, we're going to continue down this radiation path that's going to overwhelm the Schumann resonance and continue to make us sicker. Proof. Now, I've gone to some people that work at NASA and I've asked this question, and they avoid the answer. They avoid talking to me. They change the subject. It's very obvious and very deliberate. When I ask about magnetism at NASA and start leading into perpetual energy using and utilizing magnetism, they change the subject very quickly. They know something we're not allowed to know. Proof. Proof. When man went to space and got outside the sphere of influence that the Schumann resonance, because it only goes out so far. As the planet vibrates, and goes out into nothingness, it only affects so far out on the planet and so far out above the planet, and then it stops influencing as it gets into nothingness. The vibration just kind of peters out. It just kind of goes away. It's just like a ripple in a lake. You throw in a stone and you watch the ripple, and it's really strong at the beginning, and then it just kind of dissipates and dissipates and dissipates and dissipates. All of our radio signals that we send out, same difference. The closer you get to the planet, the louder it seems. But it's this ripple effect. Well, when they put man in space, man got sick, man got ill, and not a cold, not a virus, not bones breaking, not, yeah, there was the effect of no gravity. Yeah, there was the effect of this. Yeah, there was the effect of that. But what they found was as we spent more time outside nature, outside what we were birthed to, man got ill. Migraines type ill. What could they point at? What's missing? Well, they figured out what was missing and they created the resonance generator that mimicked the vibration of the planet. And when they put this in the spaceships, the problem stopped. Just flat out stopped. The astronauts were capable of doing what they needed to do in space. But when I go to NASA and I ask NASA about this, they change the subject. They don't want to discuss it. There's something there in the Schumann resonance. And more people need to look at this. More people need to look at the Schumann resonance. More people need to be aware of this vibration of the planet because they need to understand that as we continue to put man's influence into this, as we have done in Africa, as we have done in Australia, as we have done throughout America, we have devastatingly destroyed everything we've come in contact with because we screwed with nature instead of living in harmony with nature or assisting nature like they did 4,000 years ago along a river. All right, you want to know. It's the Amazon River. The Amazon rainforest is man made. It was built by man 4,000 years ago without a single tractor, bulldozer, crane. Where do we go from here? You want to look or ask about 10 years from now. Well, do we want to continue down this path? If we keep utilizing cell phones and we keep looking at other things, we're going to destroy everything. Yeah, bud. That's what book 2 is about, my friend. But since we're not selling any books, there's not going to be a book 2. You know, you ask where we're going to be in 10 years, people don't want to know. Because if they don't know, it doesn't bother their day to day Oprah Winfrey Network TV viewing. They don't want to know that by ignoring a problem is getting worse and worse and worse. Let me ask, and it's an obvious answer. It's kind of odd. It's kind of, but let me ask, would you deliberately take a tree, take a flower, or take an animal and stick it in a microwave oven and turn it on? And just leave it on forever? Well, of course you wouldn't. We already understand the adverse effects that that kind of radiation has on everything. But yet, because it's the newest, newfangled, whizzly gig thingamabob, And look at spinners, those fidget spinners or whatever. Everybody had to have one. Oh my God, it's the newest thingamabob. It's the newest whizzle gig in my pocket. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And everybody had them, fidget spinners. I mean, it just, and to me, that's proof that perpetual energy is possible because those dang things spin forever. They just go. If you could get it outside of gravity, if you could get it out, if you took a fidget spinner out into space and started that thing spinning and just let it go, we're in this sphere of influence where the Schumann resonance only goes out so far and stops because of nothingness. There's so much nothingness out there that it just vibrates and goes away. You wouldn't stick a tree or a plant or an animal in a microwave. You have your core, your outside, this area of radiation. Yet, if you look at our planet and you look at the core radiation shield, in a sense, of the ozone layer, we're all walking around with wireless devices. We're all walking around with radiation devices in our pockets, and they're all turned on. Well, yeah, it's the beginning of it. It's the beginning of it. If it starts on the smallest animal, where does it end? You put a bunch of stuff in a microwave and you don't see the microscopic level. You don't see, well, actually, you do. You can actually, because as it's been tested, if you cook something on a stove top and just cook it, it still has a lot of its value. It still has a lot of its dietary value. It still has a lot of its ability. Just say it's my favorite. Just take a T-bone steak, cook it up on a grill, nice slow fire, low, even, what have you. Bring it into man's world and throw it in a frying pan, and it cooks a whole lot faster. Da, 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 da. Don't do this, but everybody's made the mistake at least once in their lifetime. Take a T-bone steak and throw it in a microwave and cook it. It is zero value. It is like eating rubber. It is this. It is that. Doesn't cook evenly. Doesn't this. Doesn't that. Has all these effects. You don't cook a steak in a microwave. That's not the. There's a logic here. There's a no, no. Obviously, you wouldn't. But you're killing the microscopic level right off the bat, and then you're starting to wipe out the meat, and then you're starting to wipe out its sinew, and then you're starting to. I mean, and you're talking about the microscopic level coming all the way up. Here we are coating the planet with bariums and this and that and the other. We're trying to deal with what they're telling us is global warming, and we're spraying into the ozone, and we're spraying and here come all these chemicals because whatever goes up must come down. Da, 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 it's called gravity. Da, 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 da. It's all common sense. Whatever. So we're coating the planet in all of these chemicals, and then they sell you the cell phone to walk around with that level of radiation. And it's all varied radiations because this network doesn't want to talk to this network, and that network doesn't want to interfere with this network. So they're all using all sorts of different levels of frequencies, but there's this constant pulsing radiation, which is the problem with the meters on the houses. and they went to this digital wireless reporting system and what have you. What they're not telling you is the cycling of this thing, and it's pulsing, and it's this constant radiation that we're attempting to live in our house throughout the wiring in the house, and it just is constant microwaving, pulsing coming from each and every one of our houses with these meters on them, and we're paying to radiate ourselves with this new system, constantly radiating, constantly. Well, let's add in wireless networking, and now we have this, and then let's add in cell phone and all of their possible frequencies from 2G, 3G, now 5G. How much radiation do you really need before you start to understand? Seriously, just go camping. Go into an area where cell phones don't work and spend a couple days and see how you feel. What I'm trying to say here is there's this resonance, there's this equilibrium on the planet called the Schumann frequency. When the astronauts went out into space and they passed the ozone layer, they got sick. And it was constant until they built a resonance generator that matched the planet and put it in the spaceships to solve that problem, to take that problem away, to put us back in the Schumann frequency as we took our planet's frequency with us. Now we're sitting here inside the sphere, inside the ozone layer, and we're trumping that card with the radiation from our cell phone and wireless networking. And the list goes on and on and on of all of this wireless technology, all of this wireless knowledge, all of this capability and instant gratification of everything. And well, 10 years from now, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Well, Jerry loves to say the solution is in the book. If we keep going exactly the way we're going now, nothing's going to be here between the radiation and the chemical basting. Nothing's going to be here. There may be drones, and I don't mean the planes, and I'm talking about people. There's, you've seen it. You know, they want to talk about the theoretical zombie apocalypse. Well, they're already walking into buildings, they're walking into cars, they're walking into telephone poles, they're walking into, the zombies are already here. They're all staring at their cell phones, can't see the world around them, and they're walking into everything. And it's all over YouTube. It's hilarious. There's your zombies. Here's this individual so enthralled with what they're doing on their cell phone and what Kardashian whatever is upset about, what, and slamming right into telephone poles and right into signs and right into just things that should not be happening are happening because of the zombie effect of instant gratification on the cell phone and being in a singular world, and it's all about me, it's all about me, it's all about me. And they're slamming. I mean, the zombies are here. And you want to say, well, yeah, but that's one individual and they really don't have an effect on anything. And don't they? because they're walking around with this radiation device, and they're radiating you, and they're radiating me, and they're radiating the guy in the car next to them. They're radiating what few bugs are left. They're radiating whatever animals happen to be on a leash being pulled or walked through that area with that's being hammered by this, by wireless networks, by they're being hammered with this radiation by the zombies. Are they attacking you? Because the chemicals are already falling on you. Because we're trying to fix global warming, remember? Your tax dollars going out for global warming, your tax dollars going out because the polar ice caps are melting. So we're coating everything in chemicals because we're going to fix. Well, actually, no, it's not. We have more areas on the planet that are all dying off because we're spraying chemicals on them and irradiating the living daylights out of them. So where do we go from here? I say we go fix the problem. And no, yeah, we need to vote these people out of office and we need to hold them responsible. We need to look at the bigger picture. We need to understand more by looking back at what they've done. They've changed the laws so that what they've done isn't illegal. That's illegal within itself, just in theory, just in speaking it out loud. I'm going to change the law so the things that I'm doing to man aren't illegal anymore. That way I am not responsible. That way my bank account can continue to grow and I'm not responsible for what I've done. There was a Roman washed his hands to clear himself for the crucifixion of an innocent man. Does ignorance and washing your hands of a circumstance, even though you have knowledge of the circumstance, make you innocent of it? You know about the radiation, you know about the chemicals, you know about. Look at Roundup. We can look at that one because of the huge lawsuit hammered against the company. $178 million paid to a walking dead man because he spent so many years utilizing Roundup, toxifying the planet, and Roundup just can't be washed away. It's not that kind of, it takes time, but it's so devastating that anything it comes in contact with, it kills. And that's anything. Instant gratification. So we want that thing dead, but we're breathing it as we spray it. That's what this man did. Cost $178 million in lawsuits, and nobody acknowledges that. Nobody's looking at that. That stuff should be banned planet wide. Well, actually, it is. In a lot of countries, it's banned. A lot of places they've woke up to the fact and it's banned. Not here, not in America. The politicians were paid to change the laws so that they weren't responsible. Da 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 da. Where do we go from here? A lot of people look at their houses and look at their yards and they say to themselves, well, in 10 years, I don't plan on being here. I want a bigger house. I want. So they'll ignore things. They won't do things because 10 years from now, it won't matter. If Johnny Appleseed had done just that, we wouldn't have the incredible apple orchards we have across this country that are directly attributed to him. We wouldn't have as many varieties of apples as we do across the planet had somebody not gone out of their way and made a change. Tomatoes were at one time in history, tomatoes were also at one time considered poisonous. Yes, yes, poisonous, invasive weed producing this poison red fruit. It was, I believe it was even almost a law that you were not allowed to eat tomatoes because they were considered poisonous until one day, one man sat down in a town square and began eating an entire basket full of tomatoes. And everybody screamed in terror and just could not believe and did it. And he was still alive the next day. Tomato. Tomatoes came from Brazil, and all of the explorers and the slavers and what have you brought all of these plants all over the world from tropical paradise into places where man had devastated everything and introduced all these new plants and sugars and this and that. And just a huge, tremendous influence. Not the American perceived to be slavers, it was other countries profiting from. Regardless, that's a whole different ball game by itself. But here it is, the tomato considered an invasive species of poisonous red fruit. Oh, we all know now that wasn't true. We all know now that didn't happen. We all know now, but yet the Christian faith, the Roman washing his hands, the Jews leadership, because this disruptive man with a different message, just a different message, was crucified for all of our sins. With all of this knowledge, all of this history, all of this stuff. Oh, wait, history is apparently it's not absolute because anyone can change it and change the influence of it because they don't teach history in school anymore. And they only teach the history that is politically correct. Because we wouldn't want to adversely affect any one species, generation. If we don't learn from history, we're going to continue repeating it. That's proven time and time again. Where do we go from here? They tried an experiment out in the desert and they built this huge area and they encased it and closed it all in this and turned out this tropical paradise, and they calculated out how much oxygen was going to be needed and how many plants were going to be needed, and they were going to figure out exactly what we would need to do when we got to Mars and how we could survive and this, that, and the other. And they put these people in there with an absolute amount of air, an absolute amount of oxygen, all calculated out, all the biggest and the best scientists in the world. And they got in there and they started building this area, and they built the gardens and they built the this and they built the that and what have you. It was a year-long project, and I mean, everything. All the scientists were watching, and these people existed in this bubble. Da 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 da. Everything ready for Mars, and before they reached the final outcome, da 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 da, they ran out of air. They ran out of oxygen. Something had gone wrong in the calculations. Something had been overlooked. Something else was absorbing oxygen. Something else was in there breathing air and intaking the oxygen, and something else was involved. And everybody's standing around scratching their heads. The people inside the sphere of tropical paradise, and they're dying, and what happened? What was the food web? The microscopic that makes everything work hadn't been calculated into the equation. Enough had not been thought through. It had been overlooked. The smartest minds on the planet, millions of dollars spent this tropical paradise to prove we can exist on Mars and on other planets and build, 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 and take our influence someplace else. The food web had not been taken into consideration. Going into space and not taking the Schumann resonance with us, the vibration of the planet with us, the astronauts had gotten sick in space without this frequency. Our bodies can't live outside that realm of influence without adverse effects. We built a tropical paradise, sealed it all up, and killed ourselves because we hadn't taken everything into effect, because we're not remembering our history and our knowledge, and we're not taking everything together as one and attempting at that point to proceed forward. We're interrupting nature. We're out there with Roundup killing the food web. We're out there spraying chemicals in the air to stop global warming. That's the theory. To, we're out there with cell phones wiping things. And what are we doing? We're destroying and killing the very first level. Just like taking a steak into a microwave and radiating the living daylights out of it until there's nothing left of it, and then attempting to eat it and thinking we're going to get the value out of it. And we've actually overcooked it to the point that the microscopic level has destroyed it. It's like eating a piece of cardboard or a piece of rubber. And these are things we wouldn't do. But we're doing it. We're doing it on such a microscopic level and such a microcosm of knowledge that our zombie generation, our zombie apocalypse, because it doesn't affect me today. So where do we go from here? But this Easter Sunday morning, April showers, bring May flowers. All the cute little kids in their Sunday best out looking for their Easter eggs today, and putting on, when I grew up, this day was a warm day in Cleveland, Ohio, and today it's 46. You wouldn't dare put your Sunday dress on, your Easter dress on, that we would do 50 years ago, because it's just too damn cold. But we've got global warming. Hello, Mr. German. Did you get your book yet? And I can't thank you enough, sir. You were the very first to purchase and actually help me. Actually help me to purchase a signed copy. I can't thank you enough, sir. Buddy, if you just talk to everybody that's read the book, it's an instantaneous change. Once you understand, it's an instantaneous change. You will gain immensely if you put the stuff to work. I hope, because at this point, I'm not writing the second book. The knowledge nobody wants. That's all right. That's all right. Things could change overnight, though. You may be the one guy. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? My sphere of influence, nothing's happening. I've accepted it. My ray of sunshine, my sparklings. Yeah, that's my concern. Back to where I was going. Where do we go from here? Plant a tree. Make a difference for tomorrow. We have to look at our past. You'd have to hear all of this stream to understand where we're going and what I'm talking about. And where do we go from here? We have to stop irradiating ourselves. We have to go back to the phone on the wall. We've got to stop this next generation of electronic wireless meters on our houses that are irradiating the planet. They already attempted proving the ability of man, and all of the scientists and all of the greatest minds and all of the greatest everything built the sphere out in Arizona desert to prove that we could live on Mars, and they ran out of air because the smartest people on the planet, all of their calculations, all of their money spent, all of the time, 365 days, this is what these people were given. Da, 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 da. Everything was calculated down to the minutest detail, except the microscopic. When you microwave the microscopic, it dies. Microwave a steak. There's your proof. We're walking around with microwave devices in our pockets, pressed against our heads, and wonder why I have brain cancer. We saturate everything in GMO. We saturate everything in chemicals. We've got plants that can't survive. We've genetically modified them in such a way that without their set guidelines of food and feed and this and that and the other, that these plants themselves won't survive because they're not meant to. We've disrupted nature all over this planet and have just devastated it. We've pushed our influence, positive and negative, and the Yellowstone Park and the Indian Park here in Ohio are perfect examples of just that. We can't keep doing this. We must learn from our mistakes. We have to go back in our history to make any comparable influential. Where do we go from here? We've made mistakes, lots of mistakes. Do we want to continue making those mistakes? Do we want to continue letting politicians change our history and change our narrative to be politically correct? Or do we actually want to learn from our history and do what's right? We have to stop. We as individuals, you and I, have to stop dismissing our history. We have to look at where we are and where we're going, but we have to learn from our history. We don't and we can't continue down this path and keep repeating the mistakes of the past. The mistakes of the past are base this planet in radiation, cover it in chemicals, and kill ourselves. That's the bottom line. We've taken political correctness so far that the Good Samaritan, the story of the Good Samaritan, is now the bad guy. And we need to sue him and put him in jail because he tried to help. The individual, the man who tries to help, is now the bad guy. The person who tried to take their limited influence, their limited ability, and help a man in far worse shape and get him healthy and get him back on his feet and get him moving forward again and get him moving on with his life is now the bad guy because it's politically correct. I'm the bad guy. I know it sounds odd, but here I am trying to share old knowledge. And there are channels out there hammering against me because I'm the Good Samaritan. I'm taking what little influence I have, what little knowledge I have, and trying to make a difference. I'm not trying to build a gigantic channel. If it happens, it happens. That's not my goal. My goal, my goal is to remind us of history. My goal is to bring back knowledge that was lost, that has been politically taken away. The Indians tried to tell the American settlers all about being in harmony with nature. As we're in there cutting down forests to build our houses and to build our fortresses and to build this, that, or the other, we're devastating the area that was once able to sustain life. And because of what we had done, we destroyed it instead of living in harmony with nature and living with what it had given us and given, utilized its abilities. We devastated it. We destroyed it. We wiped it out and we built our big civilization. And we took the knowledge and threw it away. And now we are where we are. We have areas throughout our country that are uninhabitable. Nothing will grow. Things are done. Things are finished. We've got flash flooding on a quarter-inch of rain. Really? Give me a break. I was asked to write an article for a national publication, 22 million readers a week. And because of political correctness, I can't answer. I have to answer it the way they want it answered, or it won't be published. The answer is to correct their knowledge, to correct their wanting to dismiss the food web. When they dismissed the food web in the sphere in Arizona, they killed themselves. They had not calculated in the amount of influence that the food web has. They had dismissed the microscopic. Microwave a steak, microwave a piece of chicken, microwave anything and see what happens to it. Because that's what we've done and that's what we're doing. We're dismissing the microscopic. When you read my book, I tell you, as you walk across your yard, you're putting your weight on a microscopic scale and killing that area that you've just walked on. When you take 200 pounds and you stand on a living creature, you crush it. When you even, we're talking the microscopic level here. We're talking about something that you can't see, but you can smell. We're talking about something that has direct influence on every single growing thing on this planet. And everybody wants to dismiss it. Well, I can't see it, so it doesn't exist. Yes, it does. This is the problem in our gardens. This is the problem in our yards. It's being in touch with harmony down to the microscopic level, down to the Schumann resonance. All of it matters. Every time we dismiss it, we devastate it. We've wiped out Africa. We've wiped out Australia. We've wiped out New Zealand. We're wiping out the United States. The knowledge matters. So where do we go from here? This is old knowledge. It truly is old knowledge. I'm not rediscovering or reinventing the wheel. I'm not changing anything. Yet channels want to come in, destroy this knowledge because, well, they're a gardening channel or they're a this or they're a that. And oh my God, you're dissing me because I don't know this stuff, or you we're all jealous of people who know more than ourselves. So we're just going to go out and devastate that. We're going to attack channels that support the book. We're going to do this. It's again, it's that political influence attempting to disrupt, attempting to, and we know what happens ultimately when we do that. We wipe out living circumstances. We kill ourselves. That's what we're doing by purchasing this book, getting this knowledge, and getting other people to purchase this book. Just getting the knowledge and having the understanding will change your life, my life, and will change the world. But where do we go from here? If we don't get this knowledge out, 10 years from now, there's going to be nothing there. That was the question asked to me. Where are we going to be in 10 years? We're going to be sitting in a burned out petri dish that was microwaved to death. That's where we go from here. If we don't get ourselves out of the grocery stores and we don't start demanding with the power of the purse that they fix the problem and they start giving us foods that are actually beneficial versus causing obesity, causing cancer, causing Alzheimer's disease, causing. Everything is dietary. Everything comes back to the microscopic food level. Where do we go from here? Everybody needs to look at history and remember, if you know what we've done, we won't repeat it. We've already proven we have to stop what we're doing to make a change. You can't go protest global warming and take a cell phone with you, which is causing part of the problem and killing the microscopic. When you take 2,000 people into a park anywhere and they're all carrying cell phones, they're all carrying chemicals, they're all doing what have you, and they all exist in that park for any amount of time, the devastation caused by 2,000 people being in that park for any length of time is extremely obvious the very next day. Within 24 hours, the damage is done. Where do we go from here? We have to learn this knowledge. We have to remember history, or we're going to make things far, far, it's gonna get worse. Somebody has to stand up. Somebody has to say, stop, look at history. We can't continue to repeat it. We're devastating this planet. We must make a change. We must go a different direction. We can't be the Roman and wash our hands of the death of Christ and just be okay. We can't wash our hands of our politicians looking the other direction, changing the laws so that they're not legally responsible for what they've done, and allow the continual destruction of our planet so that the chemical companies can get richer, so that the oil companies can get richer. The only way to change our history is to learn from it and repeat it in a positive way. 4,000 years ago, people went into the Amazon and built the Amazon rainforest without modern machinery. They took an area that was entirely devastated and destroyed, and they made a positive influence and turned it into the Amazon rainforest. And here we are arrogantly going down there with modern machinery and just devastating it, destroying it, harvesting it, taking it for our greedy purposes to build more homes, to build more of this, to drive in our influence, to make changes, to wipe out the rainforest. Everywhere we touch that we attempt to push our influence, we destroy it. Yellowstone Park, the wolves, we remove them because they're bad for people, and the park begins to fail. Nature begins to fail. We went in and we took out a balancing key point, and we nearly lost Yellowstone Park. All of it. And it's huge and it's beautiful and it's glorious. We put the wolves back, one single family of wolves back, and the rivers returned that had gone away. Fish and wildlife returned because when we restored what nature had put there originally, that we as arrogant man had taken out, because they can kill man, we can't have them there. It's nature's way. We disrupted it. We nearly destroyed it. We put it back to the way it was, and everything's returning and getting its natural balance back. If we continue to baste ourselves in chemicals, baste ourselves in radiation, we're just going to destroy more. Good morning, my family gardener. Good morning, Elliot Homestead. Where do we go from here? We have to learn from our past. We have to not repeat it. We have to make the changes. They used to have a global Earth Day. They used to make a big deal that everybody's supposed to plant a tree on Earth Day. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Well, yeah, that was okay until the cell phone got in the way, and then they had to put the cell phone in their pocket to dig the hole to put the tree, and then it, and then and it, now Earth Day is just a celebration, and 5,000 people get together in a park and they have a big concert, and they're all in there with the radiation, and they're all saturating the area, and the next day, the whole area is devastated because man was there. Good morning, David Carlisle. What's going on, buddy? We have to learn from our past. We can't keep doing what we're doing. We're killing ourselves. Cancer, brain damage, obesity, laziness. The list goes on and on and on. We have to stop what we're doing and go a different direction. If you can go outside for 10 minutes and plant a seed, you're going to make a difference. If you can go outside, go into your garage, throw away the chemicals, and let nature take its course and allow the microscopic level to come back in your yard, you'll stop flash flooding. Stop it. You'll stop the need to water your lawn and our excessive use of water. You'll stop it. We have to learn from our past and our past mistakes. We have to utilize the old knowledge because the new knowledge is GMO and it's killing everybody. The old knowledge worked. We put the wolves back in Yellowstone Park. Proof, proof, proof across the board. My entire stream this morning, an hour and a half. I've given you the proof. I've given you all the explanation. That's all the Green Wizard's Guide is. It's just giving you the knowledge and the proof. Everybody needs this book yesterday. Everybody needs to just understand what we've done and what's going on. When we attempted to use man's knowledge and prove we could be on Mars, we killed ourselves. The numbers were wrong because we ignored the microscopic. So why are we ignoring the microscopic and irradiating it and chemically basting it on a daily basis, roaming around with all of our wireless devices and all of our cell phones and all of this other outside influence? We can live on this planet in extravagance as long as we live in harmony with nature and stop disrupting it. Every time we disrupt it, we destroy it. We have a concert in a park. 5,000 people show up with their cell phones and all of their trash and all of their stuff and all of their chemicals. And the very next day, when the staff returns to the park, they've got this huge, massive cleanup, and it takes weeks for everything to recover. The grass, the bushes, the flowers, everything, everything is devastated because 5,000 people, 10,000 people rushed into this park for a free concert. The amount of radiation from all the cell phones, the amount of destruction from all the weight walking on the food web, the amount devastation for weeks after a concert. We can't keep doing this. We have to get back in harmony with nature. We have to remember the food web. We have to learn from our history. 4,000 years ago, we went into a devastated area. We used man's influence and we created the Amazon rainforest. We have to go back across this country and recreate the Amazon rainforest, but without the knowledge to start in your own yard, to start making the improvements to the earth, starting at your yard. We cannot continue. There won't be a 10 years from now. We'll all be wandering around just like the people in Japan. You have to wear an air mask just to walk the streets. The population is so dense, the, the chemical spraying is so dense from all of the cars, the factories, the radiation. These people can't even ride in their own subways without wearing oxygen masks practically. It's that devastating. When you crush that many people into an area and attempt to live, the smallest of viruses, the microscopic, can have devastating effects. So what do? Radiate the area so that there's no microscopic level, and then we kill ourselves because we are ultimately made up of the microscopic level at the cellular level. So why are we continuing to repeat the mistakes of our past? But I'm washing my hands of it. Let the Jews do what they do. Let the Jews enforce their own laws. This is a disruptive individual. This is a disruptive man. I wash my hands, even though we are the sphere of influence. We are the masters. We are in charge in this area. Da 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 da. I wash my hands of it, and you just do as you please. If you feel this man claiming to be the Son of Man and the King of Kings is wrong, I wash my hands of it, and you may crucify him at will. This is our history. This is what we've done. Are we going to continue down this path? Because if we keep stacking the deck up just like a set of dominoes, we're all going to fall. We're all going to fail. We have to understand nature. We have to understand the microscopic. We have to take it into account. We can't live in our sphere and within our bubble with all of the knowledge and all of the greatest scientists and the greatest brains on the planet build this sphere in Arizona to prove we can live on Mars, go in there with all the absolutes, the absolute amount of water, the absolute amount of oxygen, the absolute amount of this, the absolute amount of that. We tried and failed. Man's arrogance failed because we forgot the microscopic. Thank you, sir. We have to make the change. Good morning, MT Cole. Good morning, Dave Carlisle. Don't want to miss anybody, but I'm kind of on my this book, The Green Wizard's Guide. This is old knowledge, everybody. This is history. I'm not changing the world, but I'm capable of changing the world. Because all I'm doing is I'm reminding everybody of our own history. Our future in this bubble, in this sphere, in this realm, just like in Arizona with World 2 or whatever they called that project. And they calculated out everything, and everything died, everything failed within a year because they were wrong. the smartest people on the planet were wrong because they hadn't calculated in the amount of influence and the amount of air and the amount of everything that the microscopic level incurs. And they died. NASA refuses to talk about the Schumann frequency and the fact that without it, we get sick and we die if we don't have the Schumann resonance radiating us in space, in our spaceships. We can't go anywhere off this planet without the Schumann frequency. Our bodies, our cellular levels are incapable of doing so. We must have the frequency generators with us in space or we die. We must be on a vibratory planet or we die. So why are we turning off and covering up and burying the Schumann frequency right here, right now, on our own planet with all of the wireless devices? Or is there a bigger plan in mind that we're not allowed to know? I, for one, want a history. I also want a future. I'm one guy bringing back knowledge that could change everything. And all I'm saying is throw away the chemicals and make the change. If you want more past that point, obviously, purchase the book, have the history lesson in your hand. That's all it is. It's just history, everybody. Forgotten knowledge. I'm not changing anything. I'm getting outside the political bubble and saying, if you want to learn and you want to move forward and you want to improve your sphere of influence, hang up and throw away your cell phones. Throw away the chemicals. Let Mother Nature back into your life and you will get healthier. Get out of the grocery stores, grow your own food, and you will get healthier. You won't need medications. You'll get healthier. Think about what the human body is. It's just a conglomeration of a bunch of cells that living on minerals and vitamins and what have you that are already here, already available on the planet. But you need the microscopic level to make it available to us. And so why are we killing the microscopic? Why are we ignoring the fact that we can't live on Mars? We can't live and survive in Earthship 2, I believe it's called, because the smartest brains on the planet dismiss and don't calculate in the importance of the microscopic level of the food web. Everything relies on everything on this planet. Everything. So why, in our arrogance, do you want to be that sick? Do you want to be the Roman washing your hands of the crucifixion of Christ? I'm making the information available. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive than your $11 bottle of wine, but this will have a greater impact on your life. All right, so it's not as expensive as the ad-filled super glossy magazines with all the drama telling us about what the Kardashians are doing today or this week. You know, the drama is pretty important. For $29.95, we can find out what they did last month. That is a pretty influential family. They're changing the world, right? I mean, my God, if we don't have toy poodles in our purses taking a shit, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? because that's pretty important information. And if $15, $15. This is history. This is past knowledge. It's not a bottle of wine. It's not only going to last one night with a good buzz. It's not a bunch of drama. I know how important that is. This is knowledge that'll change the world, starting in your yard, starting at your house, starting in your apartment. This knowledge can't be washed away like washing your hands of the crucifixion of Christ, turning your back, and walking away. Get the word out. Where do we go from here? Don't wash your hands of this knowledge. Don't wash your hands, because we won't be here in 10 years if you do. Because that's what you're doing. You're washing your hands. You're hearing this message. You're looking the other direction. What are you leaving behind for your children? What are you allowing to be left behind for your children's children? Are they all going to have to be moving around this planet in their little spherical bubbles with artificial oxygen being pumped into them because there's no place left on the planet to survive? We'll have to be living in apartment buildings and towers where we have to pay for the air being pumped in artificially because there's no more oxygen available. You can't open a window because it's toxic chemical waste in the air. We're creating a wasteland by looking the other way. We can't keep washing our hands of this information. We have to look at our history. Good morning, sunshine. We can't go any longer washing our hands of the crucifixion of Christ. We can't keep washing our hands of the knowledge and moving forward. 10 years from now, there will be nothing left. No, the politicians aren't going to fix global warming. There's no money in their pockets for them. You're the one that has to make that change. You're the one that has to throw the chemicals away. You're the one that has to go the other direction. People will follow. But if you're hearing this and you don't have this book, you don't have this history, you might as well consider yourself that Roman washing his hands of the blood of Christ. Because we can't keep going the way we're going. We're devastating this planet. We're destroying everything. There's going to be nothing left. As we wipe out the Schumann resonance, as we cover it up, as we make it go away, as we continue to dump the chemicals and wipe out the food web, we are microwaving ourselves in our own little bubble. The zombies are here. They're doing the damage. And we're watching them hysterically on TV and on YouTube as they slam into signs, walk into cars, walk out in traffic, da, 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 and they're carrying that radiation box in their hands. We all think it's funny, but you're not looking at the microscopic that they're destroying. When's the time to flip the switch and turn this back the other direction? When's the time? April showers bring May flowers. Isn't that what they say? Well, without the showers, we have no flowers. If we continue to heat this place up, they're not going to have any moisture exchange. We're not going to have the microscopic level doing its thing. We're not going to create the Amazon rainforest. Look at our history, everybody. Learn from our past. Don't keep washing your hands. Don't keep, well, I'll buy it next week. Well, I'll look into this information next month. Well, the more you wash your hands, where do we go from here? I want a future. I've learned. I understand. I understand what Mother Nature wants. There's no reason you can't also have the same information. It's right here. A little more expensive than your $11 box. Not as interesting as a glossy page book full of all of the drama of what the Kardashians are doing this week. But if we continue to erase our past, if we continue to look the other way, if we continue to politically correctly take things away, you're the one crawling inside the microwave, hitting the button, pulling the door shut. Well, I've been here. We go from here. I want it tomorrow, everybody. I've spent 5 years researching this, proving this, getting this information together in such a way that everybody can understand it. I've taken history, put it out there in such a way anybody's capable of doing this. Because once you have the knowledge, just having the knowledge will change the way you think and the way you do things and make an improvement to our world. When you have the knowledge, just having the knowledge, you can make an effective change for tomorrow. Every little pebble counts. Take that walk, bring a pebble home. 365 days from now, you're going to have 365 pebbles piled in a pile. Do it for a lifetime, and you've made a big change. One little piece of knowledge. This is knowledge they took away 200 years ago, and we have all forgotten. Change the planet one pebble at a time, changing 1 yard at a time. This is up to you. This is your choice. Everyone needs this book. Put it in everyone's hands. Give everyone the knowledge. Without this knowledge, we can't move forward. We won't have a tomorrow. I want a tomorrow. Out of that is that pristine blue marble covered in lush green for all the universe to see and to enjoy. I don't want to keep living in this microwave bubble without the Schumann resonance and without the food web because we've proven we can't do it. We will die. Everyone needs this book. I don't know how to say it any louder than having my streams and speaking my piece. Share this out, push this out there, get people to wake up. All they have to do is hear it to understand it. This is not rocket science. Hey, Pyro, this is not new information. I'm not trying to reschool anybody on anything. This is old world information. You have to get this in your hands. You have to have this knowledge. Why would you allow somebody to take such an important piece of knowledge away from you? You're the only one that can make that change. You're the only one. I've done my part. I dedicated 5 years of my life to this. I hope you're not the Roman washing his hands of the blood of Christ and waiting for somebody else to do it for you. That still makes you responsible. It's a question you have to ask yourself. Where do you go from here? Yeah, it's hard for you as an individual. What do you do? We're here. The people around this channel are here. The people that understand this are here. You want to know what to do. You want to know what direction to turn. Send them to my message. Send them to my streams. Get them to listen. That's all they have to do. Just listen. Good morning, Linda. The information is here. Don't let them take the history away from you. Don't let them take the knowledge away from you. If you want to make a change on this planet, you just have to have this knowledge. With a little bit of knowledge, oh my goodness, you could be dangerous. You could change the world and be part of something bigger than yourself. Don't be that Roman and wash your hands of the blood of Christ. We can't make the change. We can't get ourselves out of the microwave. We can't run out of oxygen. We can't continue doing what we're doing. With just a little bit of knowledge, you could be dangerous and we could fix and change the world. Stop worrying about the Kardashians and don't buy that book. Buy this one instead. It's on Amazon. It's at Barnes and Noble. So available globally electronically. Yeah, you're not going to get the buzz from the $11 bottle of wine. You're actually going to have to spend just a little bit more money unless you buy the electronic. But if we continue going the way we're going and the grid fails, the electronic isn't any good to you anyhow. Because that's where we're going. Don't let them take the history and the knowledge away from you. Don't let them keep that influence and keep your influence, your potential, your ability to change the world by bringing that pebble home and starting today to fix tomorrow. It's not a leap of faith, it's proven history. It's not new information. We improved the planet 4,000 years ago. We can't leave this sphere of influence and get outside the Schumann frequency without killing ourselves. We've proven that already. But if we stay inside this microwave and allow it to continue and allow the Schumann frequency to be overwhelmed, influenced, and destroyed, we're in the microwave already. We can't keep influencing nature. We must become harmonious with nature. You want to know and you want to ask and you want to help and you want to be part. Demand your friends buy this book and learn this knowledge. Do your friends really want to wash their hands of the blood of Christ? Does that work? This knowledge is that important. This information is that important. It's not about the drama of the Kardashians. It's not about the drama of another YouTube channel. It's bigger than that. If you want to live a GMO life, go right ahead. Keep shopping at the grocery store. Keep paying the chemical companies to feed you because they're feeding you chemicals. Isn't it wonderful? Aren't you feeling wonderful today? Doesn't it just me? Aren't you just up and bubbly and ready to go and rare and full of energy and all healthy? Just keep doing what you're doing. Wash your hands of the blood of Christ. Go the other direction. Don't learn from our history. Don't learn from our past. But don't tell me it can't be done. 4,000 years ago, we built the Amazon rainforest without modern machinery. We did it blood, sweat, and tears. Man and woman together changed the world. There are species of animals and species of plants down there we still have yet to discover. And they're all positive and they all have an incredible impact on the planet. Don't say it can't be done. They've done it 4,000 years ago. Oh, but you're just one person working alone. No, you're not. Here's the knowledge, everybody. Here's the history. Here's what they've been trying to tell us for hundreds of years, and we look the other way. We can't keep going the way we're going. We're all going to die. Leave that six pack at the grocery store. Forget that bottle of wine. Order a book. In a lifetime that can change the world, and you can be part of it by just having the knowledge. Just having this knowledge will change the way you do things and the way you make choices by having the knowledge. One pebble at a time, one person at a time, 1 yard at a time, we can fix this planet this year. So the idea that, well, I'm stuck in a wheelchair, or I don't have a leg, or it's not, that's an excuse. You just need to have this knowledge. If you understood that just sitting in your chair, using that bottle of Lysol to spray something down real quick and wipe something down real quick is killing the planet. Just you stopping from using that canister of Lysol, spraying out its chemicals on top of chemicals on top of chemicals that's affecting the ozone layer and affecting your world around you and destroying the microscopic level. Everyone can change the planet. Everyone. Just by having the knowledge and making the right choices. But the only way you can have the knowledge is to learn from our history. So learn from our history. There's the information, the Green Wizard's Guide. I'm just delivering a message. I'm a nobody. I'm an entertainer. I'm a whatever you want to call me. I'm the Green Wizard. I live this lifestyle. I effectively make these changes and choices I make every single day. That's all I'm asking you to do. Get the knowledge, understand the knowledge. I've written it in such a way a 10-year-old can, a 90-year-old can. The change is immediate. Immediate. Things, solutions in this book have a next day effect on your life, on your yard, on your plants, on your way of living the very next day when you put them into use. And this is cheaper than any chemical setup for an entire year. This is years worth. And it's still cheaper than using the chemicals. So you can still have a double bottle of wine later on down the road while you're enjoying your yard because you didn't buy that bottle of wine today at the grocery store. You didn't stop to see what the Kardashians were doing this week with their glossy magazine. You can make the change one simple choice at a time, but you have to understand what choices you're making by just going back in history and understanding what we're doing wrong. All you need is the knowledge, and you can effectively change the future. Stop looking the other way. Stop waiting for the politician to fix it. Stop thinking a chemical company is going to give you something healthy. Stop thinking that the drama of today is going to fix tomorrow. The entertainment from today has no effect on tomorrow or yesterday. So is it really that important versus spending an hour, 2 hours to read this book, understand its knowledge, and start changing the world today? I want a future. I want my sunshine every single day, and I want to keep on going with that sparkling star. If more people don't have this, that tomorrow will never come. This is your Yellowstone Park moment, everybody. Without the wolves, the balance isn't there and it all comes apart. When you add the information, you add the little bit of information, that one family pack of wolves, the park returned to its pristine glory. You have to have this knowledge. You have to make this change. We can change the world one yard at a time, one day at a time, by just having this knowledge. Thank you for coming, everybody. Happy Easter. Get my book on Amazon, The Green Wizard's Guide. We'll talk to you all later. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you around the streams.